Hello everyone, and welcome back to TV Day's Drama Digest, the heartbeat of Salem, where secrets unravel faster than a poorly tied knot in a body and soul costume department. It's us again, your devoted guides through the labyrinth of love, betrayal, and blistering confrontations that define days of our lives. Today is October 29th, and if you blinked, you missed a masterclass in tension, redemption, and the kind of raw human drama that keeps us glued to our screens. Fear not, because we're about to plunge you headfirst into every gasp-worthy moment from today's episode. Buckle up, this recap is going to be longer, darker, and more deliciously detailed than a DiMera family reunion gone wrong. By the time we're done, you'll feel like you were right there in the Horton Town Square, eavesdropping on every whispered threat and reluctant apology. Let's set the stage properly, because Salem never does anything halfway. The autumn air is crisp, leaves skittering across the cobblestones like guilty secrets trying to escape. Inside the hallowed and slightly dusty halls of the Salem Community Center, a mentorship program is about to ignite into something far more combustible than anyone anticipated. And over in the Johnson-Brady orbit, old wounds are reopening with surgical precision. 2 storylines, 1 episode, and enough emotional shrapnel to leave even the most stoic viewer reaching for the tissues or the remote to rewind and savor the chaos all over again. Hashtag the mentor and the reluctant protege, Abe Carver versus Liam Selejko. Picture this. The fluorescent lights of the community center's reading room buzz faintly overhead, casting long shadows across stacks of dog-eared paperbacks and motivational posters that have seen better decades. Abe Carver, mayor, patriarch, and now reluctant literacy coach, stands at the head of a scarred wooden table like a general surveying a battlefield. Across from him sits newcomer Liam Selejko, played with smoldering intensity by veteran soap star Hank Northrup in his official debut. Northrup doesn't just walk onto the set, he owns it. The camera lingers on the hard lines of his jaw, the flicker of defiance in his eyes, and the way his fingers drum against the table like a man counting down to an explosion. Abe lays down the law with the calm authority of a man who has stared down Demeros and lived to tell the tale. Punctuality, Liam. That's non-negotiable. You show up on time, you show up prepared, and you show up ready to work. His voice is steady, but there's an undercurrent of steel, because Abe knows exactly what's at stake. This isn't just about alphabet soup and phonics, it's about giving a young man on probation a lifeline. My goal, Abe continues, leaning forward until the overhead light carves dramatic hollows beneath his cheekbones, is to see you succeed. Not just in this program, but on the outside. In life. But I need to know, are you in? Can you commit to the effort? Liam's response is a masterclass in wounded bravado. He slouches back in the plastic chair, arms crossed so tightly his knuckles blanch. I guess, he mutters, the words dripping with the kind of sarcasm that could curdle milk. The camera zooms in on Abe's micro-expression, a twitch at the corner of his mouth that says he's heard that tone 1,000 times from 1,000 troubled kids, and it never ends well. Abe slides a worn copy of To Kill a Mockingbird across the table. The book lands with a soft thud that feels heavier than it should. Page 1, Abe instructs. Out loud. Liam cracks the spine, clears his throat, and begins. The first sentence stumbles out haltingly, syllables tripping over each other like drunk partygoers. By the 3rd paragraph, he's grinding to a halt. This is stupid, he snaps, slamming the book shut. I don't feel this book. It's just words. The room temperature seems to drop 10 degrees. Abe removes his glasses slowly, deliberately, the way a prosecutor might before delivering a closing argument. We're not here to make you feel anything, Liam. We're here to improve your reading comprehension. Your literacy scores were part of the plea deal, remember? The judge was very clear. Liam's laugh is bitter, jagged. I can read just fine. I read menus, I read texts, I read warning labels on cigarette packs. This? He jabs a finger at the novel like it's personally offended him. This is torture. Abe's voice hardens. This is your probationary status, son. You don't get to pick and choose. You don't get to sign up for these sessions unless you're willing to learn something, anything . The word anything hangs in the air like a guillotine blade. Liam shoves back his chair with a screech that sets teeth on edge. Then maybe I don't need your sessions. Maybe I'll find another tutor. One who doesn't treat me like I'm 5. He's halfway to the door, shoulders squared for battle, when Abe's next words freeze him in place. If that door closes behind you, Liam, I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling the prosecutor. And I'm telling them the plea deal isn't working. You'll be back in lockup before the ink dries on the paperwork. The threat is delivered without raising his voice, which somehow makes it more terrifying. Abe Carver doesn't need to shout. His reputation does the shouting for him. The silence that follows is thick enough to choke on. Liam's hand hovers over the doorknob, knuckles white. You can practically hear the gears grinding in his head, freedom versus pride, future versus ego. Finally, he turns. The defiance hasn't vanished, but it's been tempered by something rawer, fear. He slumps back into the chair, yanks the book toward him, and flips it open with exaggerated nonchalance. What page did you say we were on? He asks, voice cracking just enough to remind us he's still human. Cut to Abe's face. A flicker of something that might be pride or might be pity. Either way, the mentorship has officially begun, and it's going to be a war of attrition. Hashtag the Johnson-Brady orbit. Secrets, lies, and one stormy night. Meanwhile, across town in the cozy yet perpetually drama-soaked confines of the Brady pub, reopened for the 11 billionth time because Salem's economy apparently runs on chowder and second chances, Steve Johnson is nursing a coffee that's gone cold. Kayla sits across from him, her nurse's scrubs still faintly scented with antiseptic and worry. The pub is quiet this early in the afternoon, just the low hum of the ancient jukebox and the occasional clatter from the kitchen where Roman is probably burning toast in solidarity with his brother's mood. Steve's eye patch seems to absorb the light rather than reflect it as he stares into his mug like it owes him money. I gotta be honest, sweetness, he says finally, voice gravel rough. I don't like this. I don't like Stephanie being the author of One Stormy Night. The content, it's too sensitive. Too close to home. He doesn't need to elaborate. We all know the book is a thinly veiled tell-all about the Salem elite's bedroom escapades, with enough coded references to make even Paulina Price blush behind her mayoral podium. Kayla reaches across the table, her fingers brushing his. Stephanie's a grown woman, Steve. She made her choices. And the book's already out there, ghostwritten under a pseudonym or not. Steve's laugh is humorless. Anastasia Sands. Cute. Real subtle. He rubs a hand over his face, the gesture of a man who's fought too many battles and is bracing for the next one. And now Jeremy's back in town. The name lands like a grenade. Jeremy Horton, charming, reckless, and possessing the survival instincts of a moth in a bug zapper, has been MIA for months, leaving a trail of broken promises and questionable alibis. Kayla's eyes narrow. You think he's going to cause more problems for Stephanie? I know he will, Steve growls. The kid's a walking disaster area. And with the book stirring up hornets' nests from here to the Demera crypt, the last thing Stephanie needs is Jeremy flapping his gums to the wrong people. Flashback montage. Because Days loves a good flashback almost as much as it loves comas, we see Stephanie confronting Jeremy weeks ago, her voice trembling with betrayal. You promised me, Jeremy. You swore you wouldn't tell Leo about Anastasia Sands. Jeremy's denials had been frantic, his hands raised in surrender. I didn't, Steph. I swear on my mother's grave, okay, bad example, but you know what I mean. But Stephanie hadn't listened. She'd stormed off, convinced that Jeremy's loose lips had sunk her secret identity. Except they hadn't. Cut to the present. Jeremy strides into the pub like a man who's been rehearsing this entrance in his bathroom mirror for weeks. His hair is artfully tousled, his leather jacket scuffed just enough to scream, redeemed bad boy. He spots Steve and Kayla and offers a sheepish grin that could melt butter or disarm a bomb, depending on the day. Uncle Steve, Aunt Kayla, looking as suspiciously youthful as ever. Steve's glare could peel paint. "What are you doing here, Jeremy?" Jeremy slides into the booth uninvited, signaling Roman for a root beer like he's never been gone. "I heard through the grapevine, okay, through Leo's gossip column, that Stephanie's in hot water over some book. Figured it was time to clear the air." He turns those puppy dog eyes on Kayla. "I didn't tell Leo, I swear. Someone else did." Kayla's maternal radar pings. "Who?" Jeremy hesitates, then drops the bombshell with the finesse of a sledgehammer. "EJ DiMera." Cue the dramatic close-up on Steve's face as the pieces click into place like a loaded gun. EJ, ever the chess player, ever the opportunist, had been the one to spill the beans to Leo Stark, Salem's answer to Perez Hilton with a side of blackmail. Why? Because EJ never met a secret he couldn't weaponize, especially if it meant keeping Stephanie, and by extension, the Johnson-Brady clan, off balance while he maneuvered his own agenda. Back at the community center, the mentorship session grinds on. Liam is reading aloud again, his voice gaining traction with each paragraph. Abe watches, arms crossed, the faintest hint of a smile tugging at his lips. Outside, the sun dips lower, painting the windows gold. Inside, two men from vastly different worlds are forging a connection neither expected, one halting syllable at a time. Over at the pub, Stephanie bursts through the door like a storm front. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her hair escaping its ponytail in frantic wisps. She spots Jeremy and freezes. "You," she hisses. Jeremy stands slowly, hands open in supplication. "Steph, before you deck me, hear me out. It wasn't me. It was EJ. I've been telling you that for weeks, but you wouldn't listen." Stephanie's breath catches. The pieces fall into place with devastating clarity. EJ's smug little smile at the DiMera mansion, the way he lingered over coffee with Leo, the timing of the leak. She sinks into a chair, the fight draining out of her like air from a punctured tire. "Oh my God. I accused you. I hated you. And it was EJ all along." Steve's paternal instincts kick into overdrive. He's on his feet, already reaching for his phone. "That son of a, I'm calling Chad. We're ending this." Kayla lays a gentle hand on his arm. "Or, we let Stephanie handle it. She's not a little girl anymore." The camera pans across the pub, Roman polishing a glass with the weariness of a man who's seen this movie before, Jeremy looking like a puppy who's finally been forgiven. Stephanie staring into the middle distance as the weight of her misdirected rage settles on her shoulders. And in the background, the jukebox kicks into a mournful country ballad about mistakes and second chances, because of course it does. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag the aftermath, threads that will unravel Salem. As the episode fades to black, we're left with two seismic shifts. Abe and Liam have crossed the first hurdle. The mentorship is no longer a court mandate, but a fragile truce. Hank Northrop's Liam is a powder keg with a slow fuse, and Abe Carver is the only man in Salem steady enough to keep it from detonating. Expect fireworks, literal and figurative, as Liam's backstory, hinted at in cryptic asides about a rough childhood and a rap sheet longer than the Salem phone book, begins to bleed into the present. And in the Johnson-Brady orbit? The revelation about EJ is a lit fuse snaking straight toward the DiMera mansion. Stephanie's confrontation with EJ will be must-see TV. Imagine the icy politeness, the veiled threats, the moment when EJ's charm finally cracks under the weight of his own arrogance. Will Stephanie go public with EJ's betrayal? Will she enlist Leo, of all people, to expose the exposer? Or will she take a page from her father's playbook and handle it off the books, Patch and Kayla style? One thing is certain. Salem's fragile peace is about to shatter like cheap glass under a DiMera heel. The book one stormy night was just the opening act. The real tempest is brewing, and it's going to drown the town in secrets, lies, and the kind of redemption arcs that only Days of Our Lives can deliver. So there you have it, Drama Digest faithful, the full, unfiltered, pulse-pounding breakdown of October 29th. If you missed it live, do yourself a favor and stream it tonight. Pour a glass of wine, silence your phone, and prepare to have your heart ripped out, stitched back together, and ripped out again. Because in Salem, tomorrow is never just another day, it's another chance for someone to rise from the ashes, or burn the whole town down trying. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a single scandal. Drop your theories in the comments. Will Liam embrace Abe's tough love, or will he sabotage himself spectacularly? Is EJ's meddling the final nail in his mayoral coffin? And most importantly, when will Stephanie finally get the apology and the groveling she deserves? We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our